Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 24th episode of MOV Leaders, a podcast where we celebrate women leaders. I'm so happy and thankful to each one of you to making this journey a very successful one. We are planning to wrap up the season one soon and coming up with a brand new season two. Watch out this space for more. As a tradition, we are always welcoming a great leader in the episode. Before that, we used to recall a women trailblazer. Today, I wanted to go little way back to the later part of 16th century. I wanted to talk about Queen Abaka Chauda, the first Tulua queen who made a mark. She fought with Portuguese in the later 16th century for almost 4 decades. They were not able to win her. She did a commendable job, and those who know now it's called like coastal parts of Karnataka, called Tulu, India. So that is where she was ruling. So is it not commendable? I think I always say this: the genes of those women are making us brave by birth, I believe. So we are having so many trailblazers nowadays to look up to. So today I'm going to bring one such interesting guest for all of you. Ruchi is a great tech leader. I always wonder and get inspired by people who stay in tech industry for long. She's almost there for 16 years, doing varying roles like business development, consultant, product management, etc. The last 7 years in Microsoft, she did amazing job and moved up to director AI, IoT, and data BU, which is not an easy journey. So let's hear more from her. Without any further delay, I like to welcome Ruchi to the show.
Hi, Cynthia, and I hope everyone can hear me well.
Yes.
It's a great honor to be here, and of course, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I was truly looking forward to see how I could share my journey with the larger set of women, and in way inspire even one of them to pick up a career in tech. I would feel very satisfied. So happy to be
You
here, Cynthia.
you will, Ruchi. So how are you feeling to be part of MOV Leaders? What is your view about MOV Leaders?
Amazing is the word that I would use here because I think you're doing a fab job in bringing varied set of women to forefront and letting the larger set of women to be inspired by this is all doable, this can be achieved, and probably giving them a quick snippet into that the journey can be mapped out, and here is something that they could all learn from us. So I see this as a great opportunity for both the parties, the person who's speaking and the people who are hearing, to really make an impact into their own individual journeys as well.
Thank you, Ruchi. Also, it is making a big impact to me. I'm learning a lot from each episode. Whenever I meet someone like you, that helps me to identify where I'm doing good, where I have to go, and it inspires really. And the whole idea is to inspire a lot of people and make them to achieve their dreams come true. So I'm so happy that you have taken your time and been here. As I know, as I have always told you, that it's a long awaited episode. I am super excited to have you here. You have an amazing career of 16 years in tech. Why don't you tell yourself to the audience that how you made it possible, Ruchi?
Sure, and thanks for those kind introduction, Cynthia. But before I get started, I genuinely wanted to congratulate you, Cynthia. You work with Freshworks, and I think it's an amazing time to be where you are. And I truly feel inspired with the fact that Freshworks is giving every individual an apt representation of the global ambition that we all held, and being a role model for the Indian startup ecosystem. So, congratulations, and I hope
Thank you.
you have a
Thank you.
great run going from here as well. And on the
Thank you.
lighter note, I
Thank
do
you.
hope that you're one of the 500 crore patis that have been in the news also. Now, coming back to me, Cynthia, I feel very content in sharing the fabulous 16 years that I've spent in the industry so far. A very result oriented experience is what I would say that I've built up with firms like Microsoft, with EY, and SAP. Somewhat evenly distributed experience across the two firms, which is Microsoft and SAP, and done a variety of roles, to your point, across product management, across business development. That's the later part of my career journey, and initially spent a lot of time in doing consulting as well as value engineering. So truly bring in a perspective of both consulting, product management, business development, all of it put together. And what it has helped me do is it has actually allowed me to truly gain a perspective on building onto a collaborative success. And I do want to call this out because when you work with organizations like a Microsoft, an SAP, or an EY, you do understand what's the merit in harnessing the power of one organization and truly, giving a solve for the end customer, for end stakeholder, with the power of everybody coming together. Similarly, I have had the opportunity to actually leverage cutting edge technology to solve for problems that will help my customers gain the competitive edge versus their peers in the sectors that I've operated in. I've supported many digital transformation in true sense for my end customers, again, leveraging technology. And from a skill standpoint, I'd say, these 16 years have given me a well-rounded experience in terms of leading cloud, on-premises products, and truly delivering the results that my organization expected. I also feel very comfortable in stating that, while doing all this, leading products, I did build up a great GTM and, how to execute that go-to-market strategy for the products that I was owning. And I do want to call out that all this has been built, by working with teams that I may have or may not have led, led with and without authority. But the fact that, was able to harness the power of collective thinking, growth mindset, and truly take forward the collective power of that team power to deliver the results. And I just say, sum it up by saying that my experience across various different roles within the organization has truly helped me to keep my stakeholder at center, which in majority of cases has been the customer. And I feel very satisfied in saying that whatever has been done keeping in mind what the customer would really value. So that's my journey, and I still look forward to many more great years in tech space. It's truly been a calling ever since I joined Microsoft, because from there I've realized how products can truly make an impact for any organization, and you're really ahead of the curve in terms of how you're going to solve for issues, business problems, business scenarios, with the leverage of the right set of products. So here I am.
So, very inspiring journey, Ruchi, because as I told in your intro also, I always admire women in tech. It's not an easy thing because the statistics also say so, right? So today, if you see, we always in a lot of episodes we have discussed about pipeline leakage. There are enough number of people you can see having a tech degree in women, but the same numbers will not be translating into the career. If you see the tech industry, you will not have that many women. Even if you're having them, there is a huge chunk of people get dropped in the first 10 years of their career. They don't sustain to the leadership roles. There are so much of invisible barrier. So from your experience, like you have worked with many, you have seen many women around you, and you have come across the same journey. What is the way to break this barrier, invisible barriers, and establish a career for women in tech, according to you, Ruchi?
Yeah. And I think that's a very pertinent question you bring to the foray, Cynthia. First of all, I really feel that the navigation, the opportunities in tech are really getting awesome. And I'm even more optimistic for future because we've just started. And I think tech is one industry where whichever year you join, there's enough and more that's going to happen in the next few years.
Correct.
The fact that it is actually impacting literally every person's life around the world. You get very well paid. You do really work with really smart people. Tech impacts each and every domain, every industry, whether it's fashion, food, or software. And hence it is an industry which is gonna be here, and it's a great place for us to build a career in. And when I talk about, with women, with my colleagues, with my even cousins for that matter, I think there is a lot that you could do in tech. There's a way to do it, and I think I just like to probably sum it up in 5 pointers here. First and foremost, you have to start learn to say yes to opportunities and take
Correct.
risk. It's never about what I learned in my college, and I don't know what's really happening in the industry now. I don't know this, and will I be good here, etc. I feel the minute you say yes to an opportunity, you're putting so many wheels in motion. Because the minute you say yes to an opportunity, you're actually forcing yourself to be out of your comfort zone. You're
Correct.
forcing yourself to learn something new. You're forcing yourself to push your own limits, and that's the true sense of getting your potential out. So I've always told women, my colleagues, to say that if there's an opportunity, give it a try. What is the
Yes.
worst that could happen? You may not end up liking it, or but you're still going to gain a lot of experience out of it, and you're going to push yourself to do better there. Second, I think with tech always changing from where, let's say, we started this year to the next year to the third year, it's about how do you invest in yourself, reinvent yourself, and skill yourself. All of it
Correct.
goes together. It's a
Correct.
space always leading the packs, India. And, a couple of years, let's say there was a different technology or a different language which was ruling the markets. And as we come into, let's say, 2021, 2022, you'll see there's so much conversation around AI, IoT, Kubernetes. You talk about different languages. So it's constantly shifting the base to a better and more impactful way of writing your code or giving solutions to business problems. And hence, here's an opportunity for each one of us to constantly skill ourselves. And there enough and more that's happening in the industry for us to leverage that opportunity. Now, when you said yes to opportunities, when you are investing in yourself, you're actually moving to a very important point that I feel women should really take care of, which is about building that reliable, trusted brand of yourself. Every opportunity that you took up,
Well said.
every time you actually did an effort in skilling yourself, you are building that consistency on your performance. You're building that reliability. You're actually building that ability to be perceived as a trusted, dependent cog in the wheel. And that's where I think it goes a long way in terms of getting the women to be recognized as an important aspect of being that strong spoke who's constantly gonna help us. One very important point, one very important point that I've always felt has helped at least me in terms of establishing my credibility in the tech spaces. You may know the best of languages, you may know the best of tech, but you have to understand how this is going to really impact a business problem. And that
Correct.
connection between technology to a business is the critical skill, is the critical aspect that every company is constantly looking at. If there's a way for you to pick up projects in that, if there's a way for you to start applying your mind towards how this is going to solve for a business problem, for a scenario, for a sector issue, you've arrived home, because that's the kind of talent that everybody's really looking at. And Cinda, if I have to really say, it's about really, in my mind, these four pointers about saying yes to opportunities, investing in oneself, building that trust, and of course, leveraging your tech to truly solve for the issues that the organizations are looking at. And if you get those four mantras right, you've arrived home in tech sector.
Amazing, amazing, insightful thing, Ruchi. In fact, like the risk taking and telling an opportunity, I was just mentioning about me also, right? Because I was so comfortable in an organization for 6 years, built a team, and management knows me. All were good, right? That time, Freshworks came up with completely a new opportunity of building ISP marketing team from scratch. So when I picked it up, many questioned my decision, but today I'm in a happy place. So as you rightly say, what worst can happen, right? It may go wrong and you can start again instead of saying no to an opportunity. Continuing to this, the one thing which we repeatedly discuss in a lot of episodes also, the power of support ecosystem available to a woman to go and explore her full potential, right? The importance of having a support ecosystem and how we have to build it as different thing, and how that women also have to build for herself is also one thing, right? It's very important for us to go and take part in this journey. So, according to you, how do you think the newer women or new or young women entering into the tech industry need to go about this support system or leverage this support system and make a way for themselves? And moreover, what is the right approach to do this, Ruchi, according to you?
Sure. And Cynthia, before I answer that question, I just wanted to bring one star to forefront. Um, NASSCOM published it some time back where they said that India is actually topping the list in terms of women in IT, with a higher percentage of women in tech, almost 35%, which is far more than female counterparts in UK at
Mhm.
17% and in the US at 20%. Now,
Interesting.
if you just put this into perspective, this is huge, and I
Yeah,
feel that this is a great advantage for women who are thinking about either starting a career in tech or, for that matter, seeking that support, to grow further from where they are. Secondly, the fact that, and I'm sure Cindy, you're seeing this in your network as well. There's so many women who are driving startups, and I
correct.
hope that their success will lead to more funding and even a better supportive ecosystem. And truly, the next generation will be fortunate to have abundant opportunities emanating out of these startups as well. The third point that I wanted to highlight is we're living in a world of hybrid work. And I think
Correct.
this is the best time for some of us to leverage that hybrid work, make that flexibility work to our advantage, and balance work and life the way we want to. There's no rush right now to get back to office. Maybe some firms have started, but it still is giving you and me a lot of flexibility in terms of using our hours more judiciously,
Correct.
and how we can actually make it work in our advantage. The other thing that I felt was, there's a strong momentum that has been built across organizations like yours, mine, and many more, where there's a genuine effort to expel the unconscious bias or gender bias, which is
Correct.
also going to be, a lot of supportive ecosystem for women to take that next leap. There's enough and more leadership, which is kind of rooting and pumping women to be able to take the next leg of leadership opportunities. I'm not saying that it's all done. There's enough and more that we could do there, but at least there is a start. And the fact
Well,
that, sorry, you were saying
so
something?
go on, go on. Very true. I was just saying that, as you rightly said, it's about like first women need to think that they have to grab that opportunity. Automatically, there will be an opportunity, an eye opener for them to leverage the support system because now companies understand that diversity is not a norm. It is like if you have a diverse workforce, it's a proven fact that your profitability goes up. So for even a business advantage, every company now need diverse workforce to come and contribute to them. So there is an opportunity. So how are we leveraging is what we have to do. That's what I just
No,
wanted to add.
very rightly said, Sindhya, because we're looking at 12 trillion of economic growth in the country. There is
Correct.
no way that could be built without women. So I
Correct.
think we are very well poised in an industry, in a country where the right ingredients are already there. It is actually for us to start, to your point, build that entire momentum with the curiosity, with the self belief, and a positive
Correct.
attitude to truly make it happen. And I just, sum up the conversation by saying that take advantage of the hybrid work. This is going to work for you more than anybody else. I know it comes with its own challenges as well, but once you've got the rhythm, make it work. You can actually use this opportunity to build your network as well. If you remember, Cynthia, when it was the regular working scenario, networking meant that you have to meet somebody in person, and get that networking going. But now, right now, everybody is on calls. We can just use this to actually build networks across not just your own geography, your own continent, but
Correct.
worldwide. And I think it's a fab opportunity to build up that intentional networking, which some of us really do not do well. So I think a great opportunity here. Secondly, it's also giving us a very fab opportunity to be experimenting. And I want to just elaborate on that a bit. Uh, I may be somebody who understands AI very well, and
Mhm.
I feel comfortable in that space. But right now, there are a lot of investments that have come in from tech companies, from government, to really promote and propagate different tech capabilities that some of us could leverage. There are enough and more courses happening at your convenience that one could pick up, a project that may be in an area which is different from your own competency, and hence build up that skill set, build up that new experimentation approach, and who knows, that may be your calling in the longer run. And I just feel that, right now there is enough and more happening from firms like ours to really leverage that kind of an opportunity. The fact that the boundaries are blurred, here's an opportunity for us to find the right mentors, the right coaches who could actually be your guiding light in this ever changing world. So I feel the right ingredients are all available at the times that we are operating in. And all we need women is to speak up, open about their aspirations, their motivations, and carry on with the self belief that they have and build up the strong muscle on the career that they want.
Very well said, Ruchi. So while talking about this, there is another important point, right? So not everyone will get what they wanted in the field they are starting their career, right? When you navigating, you will suddenly understand that this is not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be somewhere else. My interest is somewhere. They wanted to experiment somewhere. It will happen for some time till you find your niche specialization, right? It's very important because you need to uh, understand what is good for you and what you like to do, because you then only you can have a long tenured career. Otherwise, then only you will not feel like giving up the career. You will love that. If you are compromising yourself for whatever available, then soon you will give up because you are not really invested on that. So it's very important for every individual to find their niche capability and move across. But in this journey, you have to switch fields or switch industry or switch domains often to get into the right thing meant for you. So switching the gears is something very important for anyone's career. For many people, it may happen. So what should be the few tips we have to take in mind, or is there a approach or right thing to do while switching this gears according to you, Ruchi?
Sure. And Cynthia, I think I'm a great example to be talking about this because I have switched gears while I've maintained the industry, but I have switched gears in terms of the skill set that I've at least built up across my journey of 16 years. And I truly believe in the fact that, if an individual is willing to learn and transform, there is nothing that we cannot achieve. And if you go with that mindset, absolutely. Switching gears, continuing on one path, everything will become okay. It's just a matter of the
Time.
scenario that you're in. It is a matter of time, and it is a matter of your own interest areas where you eventually want to be. And Cynthia, it's a known fact. You and I have worked in big corporates, and we understand that, as you're moving up the ladder, the number of opportunities do reduce. And many a
Correct.
times, it's not about that you're constantly moving up, but it's about making those right shifts horizontally as well to continue
Important.
with that sustained and slow progress towards the final goal that you have. And there's nothing wrong in it because everybody has their own journey. Some people just go like this, some people take steps and still go up like that. And I think what's most important is the perseverance, the self belief, and the ability to sift the right opportunities which are going to help you inch towards that final goal you've set for yourself. It's just not about, few roles came my way and you say yes to it. Yes, we spoke about accepting new opportunities, but we're expecting an individual to also evaluate how those opportunities can actually help you inch towards that end objective that you've set for yourself. Um, and at the same time, I also feel, Cynthia, taking those horizontal moves does help an individual gain that well-rounded perspective, appreciating how business challenges or different skill sets or different roles have to offer as a collective growth pattern for an organization's success, and in turn, of course, for your own success as well. So it's very important to truly do some of those horizontal roles as well, and gain that well-rounded perspective. And my only advice to everybody who's listening here is to say that do take a judicious call of the horizontal options or different career opportunities that you may get. Is it something that is in line with what you eventually want to do? Or you doing just because of time, place, and scenario? Sometimes one has to do that as well. There's nothing wrong as long as you're able to gain something out of it in terms of a new skill, in terms of new connections, or in terms of a new impact that you could showcase to your counterparts, to your leadership or so.
Very, very well said, Ruchi. So, as you rightly said, that it need not be always like this, right? Because everywhere need to stabilize at some point of time. In one area, you will have your stagnation where you need to have a phased move. So I tell to many of my team members also, like in 10 years, 12 years, if you want to be a director, right? After that, what you will do? In your 50 50 years, what you will do? I just wanted to understand, because you have to take that rounded knowledge for you to be at the top, because you cannot be a specialist when you're at the top. You have to be a generalist. You need to know everything, and for that, it's not like just for a academic reason you'll know. You have to do and get to know this. So it will be very interesting to learn many things. For me, I have not shifted my skill set. Marketing, maybe I was always there, but I went around the industries. I started with the consumer durables, moved to IT, distribution like Reddington, where we used to uh, do multiple level of products, and this thing where we were sitting in this part of the table and dealing with the brand, and then to Freshworks and doing tech partnerships marketing here. So still, I wanted to explore more and more in marketing in various industries and different this thing. So it's very important to go across before going into one specific direction. And as you rightly said, it's not like, okay, someone is asking me to do sales, let me try. Someone is asking me to do customer success, let me try. Instead of that, know your strengths, evaluate yourself. Retrospection is something very, very important. I tell this everywhere, even to my team. So I do this as an exercise. So every quarter, I used to sit and think that, okay, this year I thought that I will achieve this two, three things. What I have done to move towards that. If I have not done anything, then I will realize that maybe I've not used it rightly, and I will reset my goals, or I'll reset my milestones accordingly. And sometimes I'll just think that what last year, whatever I was doing last year, am I doing something better than last year? If not, then maybe I will always think that that one year I have not done something really good. So this self awareness and playing up to your strengths and managing your weakness is the key for anyone to succeed. And for women, many guests have told this also. They'll be so hard on themselves, and they want 100%, right? Everything, and you will not be happy with 80%. One of the guests told a very interesting story. There is a survey they did it in their company, with a men full in a room full of men. They have asked, like, if you are 70% compliant to that job, will you apply? 90% of the people said, I will apply. But in a room of women, they've asked the same question. 70% you are competent to that job, will you apply? Only 20% of women said that I'll apply. So it was, because you think that I need to be 100%. It never happens, right? So perfection is not like you need to learn to live with your imperfections and make it perfect over time and year. So you can never wait for the perfect thing to happen. So that will never be happening. So it was an interesting insight, Ruchi. So telling all these things, the one of the major reason for us to come up with this podcast is also to inspire and mentor people. Maybe may not in a very structured way we are doing, but we are bringing in people like you who are in the power center of corporate, to come and tell people like how they need to have a mindset to get into a particular field. And so in fact, our second season is more to go more deep into that. We will reveal the information soon. So as we are coming towards the end of season one, so I wanted to go one round on this mentorship. So I wanted to flip the switch and ask you these questions. So we always ask like, who is your mentor, who did, and everything. So rather, I'm going to flip the switch and ask, how should we mentor the female workforce now, young female workforce coming up? And what is the important thing we need to take in mind, and how to do it right, Ruchi? Because we wanted to produce as many Ruchis as possible. So, how to go about that?
Cynthia, such a amazing question, frankly, and I think we need to switch gears
Mm,
about not just taking, but now actually giving it back. And I think it's a very nice chord you touch, because each one of us who've reached at a certain level, at least in my mind, feel that we have to give it back to the
correct.
larger set which is available here. And frankly, a few thoughts that come in my mind, and what I would have loved. when I was being a mentee to certain mentors. If that would have happened, maybe my journey could have been accelerated, or maybe I could have seen some other opportunities as well. So I'll tell you, I think it's all about starting early. So think of it, Cynthia, you and me, we do have a spot here. And, it's just not about dealing with, let's say, mid tier women. But is there a way that we could actually start inspiring girls, young girls, daughters, cousins, friends' daughters, right up front to probably, watch out for an opportunity for a course, guide them, mentor them, and light up that spark in those young minds early enough. It's not about pushing somebody to a direction, but it's about, striking those conversations, spending time with understanding how the young minds are thinking, and probably giving them a direction early enough. That's one. Second, I felt was, I'm not sure, Cindy, you may have also faced this scenario, but how do we become a little more conscious in giving constructive criticism? And I
Yes.
want to emphasize on that point because it's not about giving the good part of mentorship. It's also about highlighting maybe this is an area where you want to build your, or, cover up your weakness. Or this is an area where you may want to spend a lot more time in making it where you want it to be or sharpen that. So I think, donning that hat of constructive criticism is very, very important.
Very important.
And that only comes with, when you understand how the things are happening around you and with your own experiences. But I think it's very, very important to don that hat. Third important point is we're at a spot where we can actually support and drive advocacy for more competent women in our own circles, in the right forums. We constantly know how of maybe there's going to be a beautiful opportunity opening up here, or maybe my corporate peer is looking for certain interesting roles. Is there a way for me to probably, advocate for some women who are on my network and grab that opportunity? I think that's the true power because it's not about, letting somebody know once the job is already available, but it's more about how do you leverage the power of a network to make it work for some people.
Very well
The
said.
fourth important point is making your connections work for them. Build that super connection wheel, if I may call it, offline, online. I have, let's say, so many people on my connection. If there's a way for me to probably leverage that for somebody else, that's where the power of networking or mentorship truly comes in. And it's not about just introducing somebody to one contact or something like that, but literally harnessing the power of the network that we all have built over the last 10, 12 years to truly make it work for somebody else. And lastly, I feel giving back to future leaders, if I may put it like that. Sponsor a girl child, uh, sponsor an education, sponsor a project, um, early enough for people to get that spark going on. I'm very far behind in what I should be doing there, but that's a thought that I do carry, and I hope to materialize that very soon. And lastly, just in giving back to future leaders, I think if you're able to support mental wellness for women across,
Very
it
important.
will go a long way in building that super muscle for right-minded technical prowess that women could bring to the table. We all know that in this scenario, in this era, mental wellness, apart from your technical skills, is an equally important aspect to look at. And if there's a way that somebody could open their hearts up to us and give them that comfort that we're in it together, I think that'll go a long way in keeping a lot of those mid-tier women in that job for the years to come through.
Very well said, Ruchi. Every podcast episode, I take some takeaways. So this last part of mentoring really, impacted me a lot, and a lot of pointers I'm going to follow, like whatever you have said. That one part which maybe I'm not doing it effectively is how to leverage my connections and making someone to flourish through that. Really, I will take that and do it, Ruchi. Thank you for that. So it was such an insightful session. So, couple of short questions, I would say, just to before winding up the episode. One question I wanted to ask is like we are from Mador Videos, and this is completely their selfless initiative, I have to say. because I came to their podcast and talking about why I love videos and how this journey started. So I just wanted to ask you, like, have you ever used videos personally or professionally as a tool?
Oh, yes, yes, many a times. And I think it's becoming even more pertinent now, Cynthia, with the craziness of content overflow on social media. So, how do you set yourself apart from the multitude of available content? And in professional, I've used it the typical way where, creating compelling messages, letting the customers do the talk for us, for our products, for our capabilities, and making an impact in their peer group. On the personal front, I'm doing something different, which I started recently only. So I have two daughters, 5 and 2. And
Wow.
what I started doing is for the elder one, I've started creating videos of hers as she's growing through the months and the years and constantly posting them to her email ID that I created some time back. So that
Wow,
when she
interesting.
grows up, she has a journey that she did with us. And sometimes the images of your early years is a little faint. I mean, I also don't remember everything of my childhood. So maybe this will give her a sneak peek into how her life was when she was with us for the first 5, 7 years or so. And hope she relishes it, cherishes it when she looks at it when she's a teenager also.
She's going to love it, and she's a very lucky daughter, I should say, Ruchi. Very well done. So, you have achieved a lot, I should say, because for many, I know everyone have a lot to achieve, but you had an amazing run. So, what is your next 5 years vision, Ruchi?
Oh, Cynthia, I always hated this question, even in my MBA interview prep, because this would you would make up stuff and you don't know how you're going to get there, and you're just like putting stuff on paper. No, but on the serious note, Cynthia, this is something which dawned on me sometime back, going through your own life, and some of the leadership constructs that I have believed and learned from. I think I'm very clearly looking at my next 5 years goal as to be somebody better, a better person, a better wife, a better mother, a better daughter from what I was today. And that's if I'm able to do even a few inches better than what I was earlier. That's the goal that I would be very happy and satisfied with.
Love that goal, Ruchi. Love that goal. And way to go. So, the final question, I'm sure a lot of people are watching from your network also this. So, one person you wanted to say thank you for something, and one person you wanted to say sorry for something, you can say now so that they can hear it.
Okay. So I think, Cynthia, I'll take the route of gratitude. And I just say that there's not one person that I need to thank, but I need to say a sincere thank you to my family, to my friends who have actually stood by me during the various phases that I've gone through and become a stable person, a stable professional in the journey. So, frankly, it's a sense of gratitude and it's a sense of thank you to all those who made my journey at least some successful and help me make a stronger personality from the day from yesterday. Sorry, I think I got distracted by the phone call here.
No, just so the it's very important that we sometimes say sorry also to someone, right? Which we don't have done. So, to
Hmm.
anyone you wanted to say sorry.
So I think I just probably again not to one person, but maybe to the larger women community because I think I could do a lot more. Honestly, Cynthia, I could do a lot more in terms of igniting those connections. I could do a lot more in terms of taking out my weekend time to have conversation. I mentioned about sponsoring a girl child, sponsoring projects, um, making my learnings be relevant for them. If I could do a lot more on that, that's where I think I would feel a lot more content. So that's where a sorry comes in to the larger fraternity to say that we could all do more than what we are doing right now.
Very, very well said. Amazing, Ruchi, amazing. So it was a fun and insightful session, I have to say. You're full of life. And I loved the conversation, Ruchi. Thanks once again for coming into the show. And I'm sure that listeners who are listening this, they will truly get inspired, and I'm sure that at least even 10% of the people are converting themselves into your future leaders. I'll be so happy, and you have contributed enough for that, Ruchi. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, and the entire MOV Leaders team to have me here. It's definitely an honor and privilege to be able to share my story and, to your point, inspire even a percentage. I would feel very satisfied. And Cynthia, I learned a lot about you during the conversation. Your journey is equally inspiring, and I
Thank you.
only wish you very best and all the best in whatever you pick up and take forward. You'll do wonders.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, thank you everyone for watching the show. The same episode is available in all podcast streaming platform as well. And we are almost coming towards the end of the season one. And Ruchi is really our special last guest for this season. And next episode is going to be the wrap up of season one of MOV Leaders. I request all of you to stay tuned and watch that also, so that you will get to know what we are having for you in season two as well. Once again, thank you everyone. This is Cynthia Balasingh signing off from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cynthia.